It's time for the Super Radio Brothers. I think the one just had an accident.
Yes, the Super Radio Brothers. We are back broadcasting from strategic locations all across the empire. It is the Super Radio Brothers. Trent, what is up?
Well, what is up? The Tampa Bay Rays are currently up right now. If you're listening to this podcast on a Wednesday night, you know the Rays do have an 11-3 lead over the St. Louis Cardinals right now, so they are up.
I didn't say what's up with the Rays, Trent. I said what's up with you. You're always thinking about your teams. It's a sickness, man.
Well, let me just say this. You asked what is up, so I said the Rays are up. That's what I was saying.
All right. The Rays are up, and the Golden State Warriors are not.
Too, as a matter of fact.
We're doing the show Wednesday night. Got the NBA Finals going on here. Bunch of sports to talk about. Super Radio Brothers sports segment. I'm looking forward to that. Trent and I, we were having a conversation. You know, it's really burning hot out here these days, like 90, 96 degrees, and we were out, I like to give Trent a call and talk shop, radio stuff, and hang out in my backyard and drink a nice hot cup of coffee. And I almost died talking to Trent today because, it was a hot cup of coffee under 95 degrees, and it was just a bad idea, man. It was a bad idea.
I'm sorry, Rich. I appreciate our friendship, but I have to ask you, how stupid can you be drinking coffee in 96-degree weather, standing in your backyard? Wouldn't you want like an ice cold bottle of water? Wouldn't you like a cold soda? I mean, coffee in 96-degree weather? Are you nuts?
It was hot, piping hot cup of coffee. And it seemed like the right thing to do at the time, but then you're standing out there in drenched in your own sweat and basically feeling like you're going to pass out, and you realize, well, coffee was probably a bad idea. Yeah, maybe this should be a Gatorade.
I know.
Does Gatorade have caffeine? They should make that if it doesn't. I want Gatorade with caffeine and sugar. Lots and lots and lots of sugar.
Well, it has sugar in it, but not lots and lots and lots. I mean, it definitely has more than one should probably drink. If one drank like 5 bottles of Gatorade at one time, I'd be concerned about them. Let's just put it that way.
From what I understand, sugar does protect you from the heat. So,
it does. I mean, that's why you see NFL players and that's why you see them all. Like when they have cramps, that's why they drink that Gatorade.
Oh, yeah, or a nice piping hot cup of coffee with lots of sugar.
I don't know about all that, but I'm sure they drink piping hot coffee in the morning, especially in the Northeast when it's like 40 or 50 degrees. That's a perfect time for it because that's a literal body warm-up for you.
Yeah, well, anyway, coffee was a bad idea. I'm lucky to be with you guys here tonight because I almost died. It was a mistake. It was a big-time error on my part, and
we are so lucky to have you.
Yeah, just count your blessings, because this show would be a lot less entertaining if I wasn't here. Let me tell you,
right? Because you make the show.
I'm 50% of the entertainment here. You slash 50%, and what are you left with?
50%.
50%. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even try to do the math. You nailed it, Trent. Good for you.
50. Thank you. Yeah, 50%. Yeah, I could have done that in my sleep. If you have a 100% and 50% is taken away, last time I checked, 50% is remaining.
You know where else there are a lot of numbers these days?
Oh boy, where?
In the news. Yes. From this hell we call Earth, it is the news. What do you think about that, Trent?
I like it. Like I say it every week, and people who listen to this program, every week, which I pray for you if you do sometimes. But I'm telling you, the flushing of the toilet is just so endearing. I mean, it just gets you ready. It just wakes you up. It gets you pumped up because some of this news might be about literal poop, and some of it just might have some content that that it's poop related. Who knows?
Well, yeah, I think, you nailed it, Trent. We should pray for the people that listen to this show, because that means you're probably as messed up as we are.
Absolutely. Especially you.
Yeah. I'm the leader. I'm the cult leader. Speaking of which,
the pack.
Speaking of which, Trent, how about, usually being a cult leader doesn't end well, right? I mean, we all know about Jim Jones and the Kool-Aid. You know about that one, Trent?
I've heard about it. I mean, that's maybe a little bit before my time, but yes, I have heard about it.
Oh yeah. It's it usually does not end well for cult leaders, and well, apparently that's universal, because 11 corpses were found at a camp of a Thai cult whose members ate bodily excrements of their 75-year-old leader. Yes, this is poop news, because they worshiped this dude so much, Trent, that they ate his poop, apparently. I mean, that's what excrement is, right?
Like what did they think? Like eating his poop was going to, instill some of his values or something?
Well, his name, Trent, is Thawi Nanra. I think I said that right. He says...
Probably not.
Trent, by the way, Thawi... He has proclaimed himself to be the father of all religions.
Ooh.
And his cult is called the Nation. It reminds me a lot of myself. I've once considered myself the self-proclaimed father of everything that's cool, for obvious reasons. I'm really a trendsetter. I'm at the forefront of fashion. Anything that's cool. You come, you look in the dictionary, and guess whose picture is right there?
But how about humbleness? Is there any humbleness instilled in you?
Absolutely not, because being humble is not cool. Everybody knows that. Come on, Trent. Get with it, bro.
I'm with it, bro.
Thawi Nanra, he proclaimed himself to be the father of all religions. His followers refer to him as the spiritual father. So he claimed that this belief was not something that he had taught them, as far as them eating his bodily excrements. Instead, he said the belief had originated from his followers themselves. His followers this is pretty disgusting, but hey, stay with me here. It is poop news. This is as poop as it gets. His followers consumed his bodily excrements, saliva, mucus, urine, excrement, flaking skin, dandruff. They would eat his cigarette butts. Because obviously the father of all religions smokes, and 2 packs a day, by the way, not menthol either. I mean, the real stuff. So, this is the father of all religions, so he smokes the real stuff. So they would even eat his cigarette butts. As he told them, these would cure them of all of their diseases. However, it did not. Obviously, these people are dead.
Of course not.
Now, Thawi, he maintains that he never told his followers or forced them to do this. So at the camp, 11 corpses were discovered, one of which was the body of Thawi's mother. Another corpse belonged to an unidentified 1-year-old baby. The rest of the corpses belonged to Thawi's followers, who had sought treatment from him for their various illnesses. So they died at the camp, and apparently he is in jail now, Trent. He was arrested on May 8th, the day the cult came to light, and the camp was raided. So, man, oh man, a cult leader. Maybe we should get into that business, Trent. We were talking about, it seems like the natural thing to do anyway. We were talking about pee beer last week. People are into this, So that is a mighty elixir, apparently. But can you imagine? This guy must have been a smooth talker. I don't know.
It sounds like it to me. I mean, this guy is smooth talking, but then again,
let me tell you, I am the greatest, and if you eat my excrement, your acne will go away. Of course, you got to eat it.
He smooth talked himself right to the jailhouse.
You got to eat it. it's very important. I am the father of all religions, and if you eat my dandruff, you will be able to poop on a regular basis every single day without disturbance.
Whew. So it gets rid of constipation too, I might add.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's incredible. It really is. It's pretty unbelievable. If you eat my toenail clippings, you will no longer have trouble sleeping. Why try an Ambien? You just eat my toenails. It works every time.
It's kind of like superstitions.
Am I convincing? I mean, I think I could get some people to follow me. I guess I get what this guy was up to, man. This is pretty exciting stuff.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it.
If you have an upset stomach or diarrhea, just have a bite of my flaking skin, and you will feel much better. I mean,
boy, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Half as disturbing as Pepto-Bismol. Come on, stuff tastes horrible. It's pink. So maybe my flaking skin.
I only had to take Pepto-Bismol like twice, and boy, I hated it every single time I had to do it. It was
right?
I wish they made that stuff in pills.
I'd much rather eat someone's cigarette butts than drink Pepto-Bismol.
Ugh,
just saying, Trent.
Pepto-Bismol is nasty.
All right, so
very nasty.
Hey, cults are a very scary thing, and somehow they still exist in the world today, Trent. They still exist.
Well, this show got off to a very interesting start.
That was poop news, though. It was poop. It fits, I think.
Legitimately, yeah, absolutely. Well, things got heated at a Pasadena, Maryland. You know where that's at? It's in Maryland.
No, it's in let me see. It's in Maryland.
Right. There is a Pasadena. Good for you.
Somehow I knew that. Great
comprehension. But anyway, Pasadena, California. There's also a Pasadena, California, but this story took place in Pasadena, Maryland, and it was a community on May 31st as residents waited for their mail. WBAL TV reported 2 letter carriers got into a fight in the streets. One witness said that one of the mail carriers punched the window on the other one's mail truck, and that one backed up and slammed into the other one like bumper cars.
Oh, I like that. I like bumper cars. Bumper cars are exciting. They're entertaining. But it should not be bumper cars in real life, though. That's dangerous.
Well, there was mail all over the street that kept going around the block, and they were front to front, hitting the bumpers together, kind of like bumper cars. Residents called 911, and the Postal Service sent up a carriers to pick up the mail, which was delivered by 7 p.m.
Wow, they get it done. They get what's the saying? Rain, sleet, or snow, bumper cars, whatever it is, they're going to get you your mail. And sometimes, especially if it's bills, you wish that wasn't the case.
Right, but then it goes on to say that their regular carrier was on vacation, so the stand-ins were a little angry because they weren't familiar with this community, with this route that they were on, because their regular carriers were away and weren't able to complete the routes whenever they needed to.
Well,
so how about that?
When the cat's away, I'm pretty sure that saying somehow applies here. So that's when the cat's away, Trent.
I know. Yeah, when the cat's away, you want to make sure, when the cat's away, it's unfamiliar territory for the enemy.
When the cat's away, it's hard to get your mail. So
absolutely. And don't you hate it too? Like when your mail's delayed and you're really expecting something and you don't get it for like a week or so.
I'm on that phone. I'm complaining. I need to speak to somebody. Somebody has to let me know where my shit is, because I've been waiting for this shit for days.
Especially if it's like an overdue light bill or something. Yeah, you need to pay that.
No, I don't even want to know about it. I usually, if it's a bill, why even open it?
Rich, your light bill's overdue, and if you don't pay it, your lights will be off for the next 30 days. You will be in the dark for the next 30 days.
I can, but that's why, I claim ignorance. I not only am I ignorant, but I also didn't get my mail. So I think that's what that means.
Well, yeah, and then what you can do is you can also complain to the light bill person, and they'll just look at you like you're crazy.
Well, that would be offensive. I don't think they would do that. I'm a paying customer, Trent.
I know. They don't want to lose your business either.
Of course not. Of course not. Before, if they did that to me, Trent, guess what? It's solar panels on my roof right away. Right away. You know.
We should mark your words right here then, huh?
Yeah, they're marked. Oh yeah. They are marked. Trent, I thought this was pretty funny. It's Uber's list of weird things people left in cars. So hey,
first of all, how many? Do you take a lot of Uber rides?
I did take some Uber rides when we were in Tampa, just because you get tired of driving around, and it was good experiences. I had some pretty good drivers.
At least one of them wasn't me.
Well, that would have been exceptional. If you showed up driving, I would have been like, I knew this trip was going to be awesome. That's all I'm saying. We're going to have fun tonight. That means an adventure is happening. That means we're going to have a night to remember. Things are happening.
Hold on to your hats and get on the phone with your insurance company.
Well, let me ask you, Trent, do you take Ubers? And I'm sure you have. And have you ever lost anything? What's the worst thing you've ever lost in an Uber where you're like, oh, shit, I left that?
I've taken a handful of Ubers, and I can honestly say I have not lost anything as of yet. But I took an Uber recently. We were in Tampa for Game 4 of the Lightning Panthers game. Seems like eons ago, but it was only a couple weeks. It was only about this Monday will be 3 weeks ago that we went. And I really didn't lose anything. I just kind of kept on. Both drivers that we had were fantastic. I didn't leave any tater tots, or I didn't leave any other thing. I didn't leave like my phone in there, or I didn't leave anything. I just kind of kept my phone in my pocket. I almost left my handheld radio, but they told me that, hey, don't forget your radio, and they handed it back to me because I almost forgot it. But that was the closest I've ever been to leaving something in an Uber.
Yeah, I've come close a couple of times where the wallet slipped out, and then you noticed right before you got out, or the phone fell out of your pocket. So, a couple of situations like that. But the weirdest thing I probably left in an Uber was the Italian sandwich that I just got at Subway. I just bought it and I left it in the Uber, and of course they never came back. So that's a good sandwich, Trent. That's a good sandwich.
Oh man, you didn't even get a chance to join it to enjoy yourself, man. But you may not have had anything to eat all day, and you wanted that Italian sandwich. And next thing you know, oops, sorry, I left it for. And the Uber driver's going, yes, free sandwich. Oh yeah, party time USA.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about any sandwich. Come on, give me a break. This is my sandwich. But that's just to get you ready for this list. And there's a bunch of things here. Let's see what we got here. So you mentioned tater tots earlier in the show, and I don't know how you leave tater tots. They're so delicious and special, but someone left tater tots, apparently.
My question is, did they have cheese on them?
Well, if they have cheese, then there's a mess back there, dude. That's not cool. I feel bad for the driver. But apparently someone, I don't know how you leave your fingernail on the seat.
Fingernail.
Yeah. There's someone left their fingernail, it says.
No, I will say I've heard someone leaving a fake nail in an Uber one time, like legit. Somebody left it, or not in an Uber, but I heard a story on the radio one time about this guy leaving a fake fingernail in his girlfriend's car, and he so that it is possible, but it's very weird when it happens.
My grandma's teeth. Someone left their grandma's teeth in the Uber.
Why would you have your grandmother's teeth in the first place? Wouldn't your grandmother have? The grandmother must have been in the Uber. But
shouldn't your grandmother have her teeth? You're right. I agree with you. Grandma should have grandma's teeth. I should not. What am I doing with grandma's teeth? Do I need them? Did I have to borrow them? Am I holding them hostage? What's going on here?
Yeah, I would hope not. That'd be scary.
Let's see. A grass cutter and tree trimmer. I would, that's a lot to take on an Uber. What are you doing?
Yeah, why would you have your tree trimmer and
Would
your
you let
mower?
that dude in your Uber, Trent, if he showed up with the grass cut? Now they don't. I'm assuming these are used, so they must be dirty, and I don't want that in the back of my car.
Absolutely not, especially if it's a new car. A lot of the Ubers these days are relatively new, so you want to keep them all up to date and up to par.
Now I would have been surprised with ukulele, but apparently a Billie Eilish ukulele. So I'm not sure what the difference is. Is it a signed Billie Eilish ukulele, or is it? I don't
My
know.
assumption is somebody probably went to a Billie Eilish concert and they got a signed ukulele, and
Or was
man.
it Billie Eilish in the Uber, and she left her ukulele? That's what it means. She was the passenger, and she left.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, it is pretty incredible. A breathalyzer. You don't need that back there. Well, I guess you do want. Maybe every Uber should have a breathalyzer, right? We need to know that that guy's sober when he's driving me around. Very important. A harmonica. You don't want to leave your harmonica. It depends on what key too.
Hey, you know what? I'd lean out the window and I'd be playing that harmonica for everybody who drove by, especially when if we're at like red lights and everything, and especially in downtown Tampa near Channel Side, you get a lot of people walking. Man, I'd be playing that harmonica all day. I'd be putting it to good use.
A Darth Vader helmet. Now that sucks to leave in the Uber. You don't want to lose your Darth Vader helmet. Come on, man. That's not cool at all. A painting of Kung Fu Panda. Come on. You can't lose that. What's wrong with you? How do you leave that behind? It's a painting of Kung Fu Panda, and you just left it in the Uber. How are you going to get that back? A breast pump and a white cowboy hat? How do you leave your breast pump and your white cowboy hat? Two vital things. You can't leave that behind. Come on, man. You need that breast pump. It's a baby needs to eat. Baby needs to eat.
Especially with all the formula shortages we're hearing about these days. That's crazy.
Are you exact? Thank you, Trent. Very good point. 17 flowers and 3 milk teas. What are you doing, bro? You forgot 17 flowers and 3 milk teas?
Yeah, those flowers.
You didn't even get to drink any of the tea. You left it behind. It's just the things people leave behind in these Ubers. 10 pounds of hamburger meat. I mean,
good Lord,
it's 10 pounds of hamburger meat.
How could you not smell that when that stuff goes bad?
This is my personal favorite. I don't know how you lose this. A dart that says "Unleash the Beast." It's a good dart. You can't lose that. It's a good dart. That's the one in your arsenal that you save for the end of the game, and you need that bullseye. Well, guess what? I'm unleashing the beast because it's time to win this game.
My thing is, how do you lose? Like for example, back to with all these lost items, Uber, last time I checked, doesn't have like a lost and found or anything. So how do you retrieve them? I guess you don't.
I'm sure if I could try to reach out to the driver, send a message. There's got to be some way. Or as you said, Trent, it's just what they would call the Uber void. Once it falls in, it never comes out. You're screwed. So you better not lose your shit in the Uber void.
And don't take too much crap that you don't need. So.
But, everything we read, Trent, you need. Are you kidding me? You need Unleash the Beast dart. What are you need 10 pounds of hamburger meat. Who doesn't? You need 17 flowers. It's just, you need a Darth Vader helmet. You need these things. Essentials. Trent.
Yeah.
Essentials.
It could the Darth Vader helmet could have been left in the Uber like Halloween night or something. Who knows? That could have been a key part of somebody's costume if they dressed up for Darth Vader.
Maybe it was Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker from the multiverse, taking an Uber because he needs to find the Sith Lord that's going to help create the Empire in our universe. I just wrote a new movie. Come get me, Disney. I just wrote that. You know how successful that would be, Trent? I'm like a genius.
I'm sure it would be, just like everything else you do.
Of course. Well, good point, Trent. Good point. Get at me, Disney.
Yeah, that's about like 15 good points I've made. And how many points have you made so far?
I mean, everything I say is a point, Trent, so it's incalculable. You understand?
But was it a good point or a subpar point?
Well, that is a subjective thing, Trent, and I don't live in the subjective. I'm very objective, and it's up to you what you take away from what I say. So, carry on.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Guinness World Records, Trent. It's and one of my favorite aspects of that is that some of these records can be extremely great, just something that's so impressive. Look at what that guy did. And then you have some Guinness World Records where a guy's spinning a pillow on his finger, the most ridiculous thing ever. So, and I kid, Trent, you can think of something where you'll break a Guinness World Record and you can be even more famous than you are right now.
I know, and the Guinness World Record I'm going to break is listening to you talk for as many hours as I possibly can, without getting a headache.
Trent,
while doing so.
You're a genius. Why can't that be a Guinness record? 100%. Because check this out. We'll start here. We all know David Rush. So anyone who listens to this show knows David Rush. He is the most prolific Guinness World Record owner. He has 250 Guinness World Records, and he's done it to promote STEM education. And he has a new record now. What's his new record, Trent? His new record is he wrapped his niece in newspaper.
Wrapped his niece in newspaper.
Yeah. David Rush, who's broken nearly 250 Guinness World Records, said he practiced for the record with his son Joey. However, he didn't have the right body build, so he went to his niece because newspaper is so easy to rip, and it doesn't like to not rip when being pulled around curved surfaces. So he enlisted his niece, and he wrapped her in 2 minutes and 53 seconds, completely wrapping her in newspaper. This is what I'm talking about, Trent. We could have thought about this and said, let's wrap each other in. It's ridiculous. How is this a Guinness World? Who does that? Who tries to wrap a person in newspaper?
I don't know.
Have you ever tried to wrap somebody in newspaper, Trent?
No, and it just sounds creepy. It sounds creepy even thinking about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's something from like a serial killer movie or something, right?
Can you real quick? Can you wrap me in newspaper? That's what you want.
There's something wrong with that. It's not even. That's true, Trent. It's disturbing. So I don't get that record. But on the other hand, you get this guy, Trent, who with his jaw pulled a Cessna airplane.
Oh man, yeah. And you know what? I've flown on a Cessna airplane, and those things are no joke, man. Even though they're small, those things are no joke. They use a lot of fuel, but I could not imagine pulling a Cessna with your teeth, even though the plane is small. It's
So Abdel Hamid from Egypt was able to tow the plane, which weighs 14 tons. Using a rope placed between his jaws, he pulled the plane for a distance of about 6.2 meters.
You can't make this stuff up, can you?
It's pretty hard to believe. Momentarily, by the way, the Golden State Warriors got the lead. This was a 17-point game, close to 20-point game. Under 10, Klay Thompson to the basket. He just got fouled. They got the lead down to 8, but the Celtics came right back and hit a 3. 82-71 Celtics with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter.
How dare you interrupt the story about the Cessna? I was really involved in that, and you said, 17-point lead for the Boston Celtics. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I was really enthralled with this Cessna story, bro.
I don't know what to say. I have to apologize. I'm sorry. I was taken aback.
You're forgiven.
by the Golden State comeback. But yes, 14 tons. Can you imagine, Trent? The best I ever did was I pulled 3 tons with my jaw. So nowhere close for me. But what can I tell you? That's why he's the champion.
You pulled 3 tons with your jaw? How can you still talk?
Not very impressive, but I mean, do you hear me talk? That is the power of my mouth. Okay, I can pull 3 tons with.
I hear you talk pretty much every day, and sometimes it's more than I would desire. I'm sure, but
like you said, let's think about a Guinness World Record there. Most consecutive minutes listening to Rich Carroll without dying or something. This is a great Guinness record that we should get going. I think it's.
So the next time we have the Cessna airplane, next time I'm around one, I'm going to try to pull it with my teeth and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we got a police report here on my end. We have in Orwell, Ohio. I don't know where that is.
I think it's in Ohio.
Yeah, thank you, Captain Obvious. It's in Orwell, Ohio. The police called the Ashtabula County Sheriff's Office to help them corral a drunk driving suspect on May 14th. But it wasn't your typical reckless driver, WAIO-TV reported. 21-year-old Nathan Miller was charged with operating a vehicle while intoxicated for driving his horse-drawn Amish buggy on the wrong side of the road. Officers were able to get in front of the horse and buggy, but the rig didn't stop. It turns out that Miller was passed out in the driver's seat.
Oh, the horses were just doing their own thing?
Yeah. While deputies were trying to get control of the horse, it crashed into the control car. He was treated for injuries at the scene. The operator of the patrol car, that is, was treated for injuries at the scene. So how about that? I've seen a lot of people driving drunk on the road, but a horse and carriage, that's a new one.
Oh, yeah, and he's passed out. He's not even driving it. It's pretty ridiculous. So the horse was like, well, I want to do something, and he got out there. By the way, Trent, I'm going to cut in here again. Steph Curry just hit this crazy 3 and the foul as Horford walks under him when he takes the 3. To me, you should be kicked out of the game when you do something like that. You got to give the guy space. Curry easily could have twisted his ankle on this play. But he landed just right to where he didn't, and he hits the 3 too, about a 35-foot 3, wild shot. And all of a sudden, if he hits this free throw, it will be a 6-point game, and actually a 5-point game.
How about this? I mean, hey, the NBA Finals it's not over. I watched the whole first quarter before we started doing this show, and Boston was clicking on all cylinders, and all the Boston fans were like, "Hey, man, we're up, we're doing this, we're doing that." Listen, you got 48 minutes to play. You got 4 quarters. There's going to be ebbs and flows of a basketball game, and the Golden State Warriors, no matter what the deficit is, you can never, ever, ever, ever count them out. And especially with Curry on the floor. By
the way, this is being reviewed, so I'm watching it on mute. But, yeah, I don't like that play. It's a dangerous play, and it's being reviewed by the officials to see if it's a technical foul. It's one of the most dangerous plays in basketball. If I
was an NBA official, as much as respect as I have for Horford and all that, I'm sorry, you can't do that. That's a tech on.
And it is a tech. Hey. It is called a technical foul. And like I said, so it's going to be a free throw here, and it's good. It's a 5-point game and possession for the Warriors, and it's just a bad play by Horford, and it turns into a huge possession for the Warriors here. You got the 4 points there, and a chance now to cut deeper into this lead with possession. 82-77, Golden State has the ball, and all of a sudden this is a big momentum swing after that foul by Horford. But you hate to see that, and if you're the Celtics, you don't want to win with an injured Steph Curry. You want to beat the Warriors being the Warriors. And Porter hits an incredible 3-point shot, and it's 82-80 with 4:47 to go here in the third quarter. So Golden State on a 9-0 run, and it looks like we're in for a big finish, Trent.
Yeah, and 82-80, and we're still in the third quarter. Am I correct on that?
Oh yeah, 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Golden State right back in it. So
Could be a wild ride to the finish.
oh yeah, big time, big time, big time. Any other stories on your end, Trent?
Yeah, let me. I'm pulling up one more here, and we got the headline to this one says, "Oops."
Oops, I like that story.
Yeah, during a May 24th broadcast of on the BBC of the French Open Tennis Championship, the news ticker at the bottom of the screen briefly read, "Manchester United are rubbish," Reuters reported. And if you notice that rubbish means garbage, anyway.
What? I thought rubbish meant candy.
I'm sure.
I want to eat some rubbish. Bloody rubbish. No, I know what rubbish is, Trent.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So
many
what
people
happened-
have called me rubbish, but I don't care what the haters think, Trent. I am not rubbish.
So from what I'm reading here, that someone was they had someone in training that was trying to learn how to put text on the ticker. The ticker at the bottom of your screen that you read on ESPN. You see a lot of things.
Yeah,
come up on
the
bottom.
professional term in the business. You know what it is, Trent?
What's that?
It's the crawl. So they call it in the TV business, the crawl.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is, a lot of people don't know what the crawl could be. So that's why I am tailoring this story to our audience, because people.
How
know what
dare
the
you
ticker is.
assume ignorance with our audience, Trent? We have some of the smartest people in the world listening to this show. This is highbrow entertainment, my friend.
Are you one of them?
I mean, of course. I'm one of the brightest minds.
Apparently, someone was trying to learn how to use the machine.
Yeah.
And so they were writing random text on it, and they wrote "Manchester United are rubbish." And so the on-air anchor, issued an apology saying that somebody was in training. I hope Manchester United fans are not offended. Manchester United did not release a statement after the fact regarding this. So wouldn't that be interesting? You would do a double take, and especially with DVR nowadays, you can actually pause the TV if you see something weird on the bottom line, or on the scroll, if you want me to use the technical term. You can pause the TV and rewind it and say, "Did I really just read that?" And I guarantee you, most people who are watching that broadcast did.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane. Trent, finally, let me tell you about this. I thought this was wild. I want to end the news on this because I didn't even know this was a thing. But apparently, an elixir for health for human beings through the centuries was to actually eat mummies.
Oh my gosh!
Do you know what a mummy is?
Yeah.
Really? I thought that was okay. I guess you as well, Trent, can be entered into a long line of the greatest minds in the entire world, because I didn't think you knew what a mummy was. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm proud to be in your company.
Yeah, you can join me with if I might start calling you Mr. Big Brains now, just to warn you.
Okay.
So don't be offended by it. It's a compliment.
Oh, I'm not offended whatsoever.
Mr. Big Brains, okay? But I guess this is what the article says. It says, driven by the belief that ground up and tinctured human remains can cure anything from bubonic plague to a headache, and then by the macabre ideas Victorian people had about after-dinner entertainment, the bandaged corpses, or mummies, as I like to call them, of ancient Egyptians were the subject of fascination from the Middle Ages to the 19th century to right now. I mean, Tom Cruise just did a movie called The Mummy. Maybe that was like 5 years ago, but I'm just saying. They're like, it's the subject of fascination from the Middle Ages to the 19th century. Excuse me, 2016, The Mummy starring Tom Cruise, it's still a subject of fascination. Trent, are you not fascinated by mummies?
They're okay, I guess.
They're fascinating. These are dead people preserved for thousands of years. perfect condition. You can study them. It's you can apparently eat them. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Now, according to some of those ancient beliefs, eating the mummies, much like eating my excrement, could cure illness. It could cure anything. Anything, Trent. It's the ultimate cure. Just eat mummies. Now, the product produced from mummies was called mummia. That's how I'm going to say it. Mummia. The product from mummified bodies was a medicinal substance consumed for centuries by rich and poor, available in apothecaries, shops, and created from the remains of mummies brought from Egyptian tombs back to Europe. So this is something that went on, Trent. And basically, is this not cannibalism? If the people are dead, does it mean you're not eating a person? Does it stop being cannibalism?
I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. Does it stop being cannibalism? I'm not sure.
12th century apothecaries were using ground-up mummies for their otherworldly medicinal properties. Mummies were prescribed medicine for 500 years approximately. So this is something that went on in human civilization, and I find it fascinating, Trent. We believed for 500 years that eating dead people would cure living diseases. That's pretty fascinating.
That really is.
And this was going on into the 18th century. People are kind of odd.
Kinda. I'd say to very certainly, quite very odd.
Human history's weird. Yes, that was the news.
Super Radio Rundown.
And this is the rundown. Yes. My, oh my. News a little bit disturbing today, Trent. I'm not going to lie. There is a lot in there. But and more importantly, 2 minutes 50 seconds left in the third quarter. Game 3 of the NBA Finals from Boston. The Celtics lead 87-83. So yes, we have a ball game here, Trent.
I am so sorry, Rich. I stepped away there, pal. My bad. What did you say?
Oh, I put so much effort into setting the stage for what was going on in the Celtics-Warriors game, and now the information I just said is old and irrelevant, and I'm not going to repeat it. I'm just not. You missed it, bro.
I know, I missed it, and I was, it's funny because a little backstory. I have a cat in my studio this evening.
He tried to murder you because cats are evil.
I know, and he wanted to be let out, and I went to open the door, and he wouldn't go out. So I'm like, okay, well, you're staying in here through the Super Radio Rundown. You're gonna really enjoy yourself. So that's
you either
fantastic.
Get out or enjoy the show. I think that should be our motto.
Yeah. If you don't enjoy the show,
Radio Brothers, get out or enjoy the show.
Get out or enjoy the show. Absolutely.
I kind of dig that.
Fantastic.
That's pretty good.
So, but hey, I was trying to be a decent human being and let the darn cat out. But you know what? He wouldn't go, so that's his fault.
Yeah. No, he's just, because animals are dumb, Trent, ultimately. What can you do?
Oh, yeah. That's true. But all I know is the Golden State Warriors are working on a comeback. That's all I know.
4-point game. With 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. Okay, Super Radio Brothers rundown. Guess what, Trent? Netflix is having Geeked Week. Geeked Week 2022. I'm a geek. No, of course not, Trent. How could you ask me that? We just established that I am the father of all things cool in the news. So how could I be a geek? Although
geeks can be cool.
Although I am geeking out for all of these cool geeky things coming to Netflix. Yes, a Geeked Week, June 6th through the 10th. June 6th, guess what? The new season of Umbrella Academy comes out. Looking forward to that. I believe they said that was the final season. Really enjoyed the first 2 seasons. Lock and Key. Looking forward to another show, The Sandman, based on the great work of Neil Gaiman, one of the great graphic novels of all time, coming to Netflix. It's going to be a show. That's crazy. Resident Evil has a new show. That looks pretty awesome as well. We posted the trailer on Super Radio Brothers social media. Sweet Tooth Season 1 was incredible. Did you see Sweet Tooth, Trent?
I didn't see it yet, but I heard a lot about it. I heard it was really, really good. Got a lot of rave reviews from it.
Yeah, I really dig Sweet Tooth. It is based on a comic book and graphic novel, and it's about an apocalyptic future, basically where the end of humanity was brought on by some disease, and one of the side effects of this disease was that humans started giving birth to human animal hybrids, so kids weren't just coming out human anymore. They were, half deer, half human, half rabbit, half whatever, any animal you can think of, basically was, and this was basically the plague. Humans weren't existing anymore, and it caused the downfall. And the main character in Sweet Tooth is like a half deer, half human child. And some of the children are more animal than human. Some are more human than animal. So it's really interesting. I really dug the first season of Sweet Tooth, and I'm really looking forward to the second. That's coming up here. It is out already, as a matter of fact, June 6th, all of these shows. Man, there's just so much to watch right now. June 7th, some more cool stuff coming out. The Gray Man, School for the Good and Evil, Spiderhead, Killer Book Club. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm assuming it's cool, Trent. But June 7th, way less cool than June 6th. And animation coming out June 8th. Cyberpunk, Edge Runners. That's based off a popular video game. Love and Death Robots, Moonrise. More Stranger Things coming out.
Are you a cyberpunk?
I'm not a cyberpunk. I never got into that game.
Okay.
So, and I guess the Cuphead show, which is going to highlight video games and stuff like that. So Geek Week, I think that's pretty cool from Netflix. After losing the Marvel shows and all of that, they're kind of showing you, hey, we got a lot of cool stuff in the geek realm, nerd culture that you can't ignore. If you canceled your subscription like a lot of people did, you need to come back to us. So I think it's a good effort, and I'm glad I have Netflix because, especially the June 6th shows, whether it's Umbrella Academy, Resident Evil, Sandman, Sweet Tooth, these are all shows I am definitely looking forward to. Box office over the weekend, Top Gun Maverick, #1 again, 90 million. I got a chance to see it. I'll give you a little review here. I plan on putting a review up on Super Radio Brother Highlights. More to come on that. We'll let you know. But by far, too, Top Gun Maverick, 90 million at the box office. And it's really good. So that's why people are turning out to see it. Everything else, nothing over 10 million. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 9 million at the box office. Bob's Burgers movie, 4.6 million. That's actually pretty impressive from the animation movie. And Everything Everywhere All at Once, still sticking up there, 2 million, number 6 at the box office. And by the way, now streaming, so you can go ahead and check that out at home. What else do we have here? So many cool things coming out here in June. Miss Marvel Season 1 premiering on Disney Plus on June 8th. Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, a 16-year-old Pakistani-American high school student from Jersey City who's an aspiring artist and avid video gamer, writes superhero fan fiction about heroes such as Captain Marvel. Khan gains the ability to harness cosmic energy and create constructs from a magical ability. And I am fairly familiar with the Miss Marvel character. It'll be interesting how close it is to the source material. I believe in the source material that she's an Inhuman, and Black Bolt was introduced in the new Doctor Strange movie. So it'll be interesting to see if Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, is an Inhuman as she is in the comic books. We'll see. That's another super cool thing coming out. Not super cool was HBO Max canceling Raised by Wolves, one of my favorite shows. Got through 2 seasons, and I'm ready to cry right now as I talk about it. It's such a great show, and it's a Ridley Scott-backed sci-fi series. You all know Ridley Scott, of course, director of Alien, creator of the Xenomorph and that franchise that has really endured through the decades and still is relevant. I love the vision of Ridley Scott, and this was a cool show. But after 2 seasons, it is unfortunately canceled at HBO Max. But they do say a season 3 actually is completed. So, or at least the idea for it. So it's going to be shopped. And this has happened before, like The Expanse was on the Sci-Fi Channel, and oh no, it's canceled. Well, Amazon picked it up, and we got like 3 more seasons. So hopefully, Raised by Wolves, which the story is definitely not over. I thought both season 1 and season 2 spectacular. Unfortunately, canceled at HBO Max, but I think there's a good chance that the Ridley Scott vision will be picked up here by some other probably streaming service. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I really dig Raised by Wolves. I think it was one of the best shows streaming these past couple of years. And you would think HBO Max, with the Ridley Scott production, would give it a chance to at least finish the story. That's one of the things that's really disappointing as a fan when you watch something. And maybe the problem with serialized storytelling, you see it a lot, where some of these shows, the show wants to be like a comic book now. One of the things, and that's what entertainment has turned to. They all want to be like comic books. So one of the things that you learn to love as someone who's read that media is that that the story never ends. That's the point. It's never going to end. It's ongoing. 30 years from now, the plight, the Parker Luck, think of any character, that story's still going to be going on. It never ends. And now these shows try to emulate that, and unfortunately they get canceled. Meanwhile, there was no completed story. Well, if it was the old days, each episode was a completed story. So these days it's problematic when you run into a situation where you're trying to run that same, basically scam, right, that the funny books do, where, that's how they bring you in. Story's never going to end. It's continue. But like with Raised by Wolves, man, it would have been pretty great to get an ending to that story. Now you feel unfulfilled, and you dedicated so much time to it. And not a lot of shows I watch that's happened to, but you see a lot of people complaining about that nowadays. But that's what it is. That's the nature of the storytelling method that they use in all of these streaming shows. They want to be like comic books now. It's the story never ends, to be continued until guess what? It's canceled. Sorry you didn't get an ending. Trent, that would be like you getting a book, 500 pages, and they say, well, the book was actually 700 pages, but we didn't have enough tree. So here's
exactly. So you got 500 pages, but you don't have the final 200. It's like, and then more than likely it would leave off in a part where the reader is left hanging, and it's like you have no idea what's going to happen next.
So it's a bit of an issue. Early fourth quarter here in Boston, lead back up to 9 points for the Celtics. So taking control again here in the fourth. We saw them do that in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So that is your Super Radio Rundown, and this is
Video game news. Video game. Yeah.
Are you excited about that, Trent? You excited about some video game news?
I am pumped up, man. That intro gets me every time.
Well, how about this? The number of UK video game developers jumps by almost 50%. The UK isn't that cool, Trent? And the UK, they usually don't make video games, but apparently a lot of independent companies started opening up. Independent developers started popping up because of the pandemic. So hey, let me stay at home and make some video games, and a lot of them got out there and made some money
out of it too.
So that's pretty cool. That's wild, though, if you think about it, that a lot of indie developers are literally just people programming in their bedroom, but apparently during the pandemic, the amount of those publishers increased from 1,041 in April 2020 to 1,528 by the end of 2021. So maybe a new culture of video game developers developing in the UK. That could be pretty interesting.
Absolutely, that's cool. And then you're going to have so many gamers, come out with new different things. And I mean, that's what you have to do, especially during the pandemic. You were pretty much home for a year and a half, almost 2 years, and you had to find some way of getting some income, and that was that.
And this is definitely a form of art. People who it's a new world form of art, developing and creating video games, and it's something that if you get more cultures involved in creating that art, it's always a good thing, because you get different perspectives in the art, and it could be fascinating. So that's a cool thing. This was an interesting story. We all know GameStop, GameStop, Trent, they had the whole controversy with the stock market. Their stock exploded last year and everything. Meanwhile, let's be honest, it's an antiquated business. It was all just a ridiculous, again, a scam that was kind of going on there. But this was interesting. A GameStop in the Gateway Mall in Lincoln, Nebraska, one of the busiest areas around out there, closed after 4 employees decided to walk out and never return over what they say are bad working conditions and verbally abusive district manager. So basically, they said, we quit. They left. And guess what, Trent? Nobody cares because nobody's buying games. Nobody's going to buy games at GameStop anymore. It's ridiculous, which is why the frustration exists. Is probably why something like this happens, because you realize, man, not a lot of people come into the store. So we hire less people, and the people that we do hire have to work ridiculous numbers. They have to work ridiculous hours because we have nobody else. We're not going to pay anybody else. It's a dying business because of, guess what? Because you can just download a game at home. It's just I have a couple of games hard disked right now, and when I do want to play those, I find it to be a chore to have to get up and put a game in the console. Meanwhile, all the games that I have that are downloaded, it's just so simple. Turn the system on and play the downloaded game. But anyway, there was a sign left in the window of GameStop that said, "We regret to inform you that we all quit. Our district manager has no respect for us as employees or as human beings. We have been told by our district manager that we were supposed to have had this store achieving sales quotas and running perfectly 6 months ago, which was 3 months before a lot of us even got hired. Unfortunately, despite the staff's best efforts, we are not God." And that's it. That's what they left in the window there. And look, it's an impossibility. There's a lot of people out there like me that, why am I going to drive to have you seen gas prices lately, Trent?
Yeah, absolutely. Gas prices are going out the wazoo.
Pretty wild, huh? Pretty wild. Why would I drive
I have a friend of mine who lives in Northeast Florida who had to put diesel in his truck the other day. He paid $5.94 a gallon, I saw on his Facebook page. And I'm not sure how many gallons his truck held, or I don't know if he filled it up to its full capacity or not. But I mean, gee whiz, almost $6 a gallon for diesel, $5 a gallon basically for regular gas. And some people get like a premium and non-ethanol or something like that. It depends. But I mean, they're all expensive.
Why would I drive to GameStop and waste gas and turn what's already, if you're talking about PlayStation 5, a $70 game into potentially a $75, $80 game? Why would I waste the gas to go to GameStop when I could just download the game from my house? It's just...
I don't get it.
it's an antiquated business, and it's sad. We saw, video stores and all these businesses go. People say print is dead. The whole thing. It's a shame when you see this happen, but it's a business in turmoil because eventually nobody's going to be buying hard discs. There's no reason to. There really isn't. And like I said, for me personally now, it just feels like a chore sometimes. I'm like, oh wait, that game is on disc. I got to get up and put it in the console now and do all of that. Meanwhile, if I downloaded it, I just sit down, turn on the PlayStation, and go to the game. So you feel bad for, but Trent, you know what? I don't know much about the stock market, but I think maybe you should go spend a ton of money on GameStop stock. How about it? Go for it.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? I tried. I couldn't even say it one time fast.
I know.
It was an issue for me.
I get it.
It was very, very difficult. But are you a stock market guy, Trent?
Not really. No, I'm not a big stock market. I mean, I pay attention to it, but I'm not a huge. I'm not an analyst per se. I couldn't analyze it for you.
But you know what you are an analyst of?
Oh boy.
But you know what you are an analyst of?
The sports.
Yes. How did you know, Trent? You see, that's why you're on the list of higher minds with me.
I know, because we know so much obvious information that it hurts the standard individual's heads. I totally get that.
It's hard, usually when I speak to normal humans, they look at me like I'm speaking another language, and I'm like, oh no, it's just that I'm smarter than you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, we got the sports here. We got, you know what? Let's start with.
Can I start with this, Trent? I'm going to give you a quick NBA update. Is that all right?
Okay, go ahead.
Let's start with the finals. It only makes sense here in Boston. Golden State Warriors right now, they trail by 8 points. So Boston holding on here with 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go as Jaylen Brown drives to the basket. He misses, but he's fouled. He'll get 2 shots.
Okay, you got a little bit of a play-by-play skill in you. Okay, you can do NBA play-by-play.
I'm just waiting. One day, maybe Breen gets sick and my phone rings, and it's Rich Carroll, Jeff Van Gundy, and Mark Jackson calling an NBA final game
with Lisa Salters on the sideline.
Yeah, that I think that would be a good broadcast, actually.
Yeah, if you can keep up with it.
I mean, the pace, I would create the pace because I'm the play-by-play guy, but I think it would be extremely I'm so good that I think it would take the broadcast to another level if it was me instead of Breen.
Yeah, they might say, okay, when is Breen going to retire? When is Rich Carroll taking over?
It'll be a Wally Pipp situation, Trent. You know Wally Pipp?
I've heard of him, yeah.
Wally Pipp, he got injured. A Yankee first baseman, 19, I forget, I think it's 21, gets injured, Wally Pipp, and guess who takes over? Lou Gehrig at first base, and the Iron Horse never would take a day off again. He's still playing today, Trent.
I know.
So, you don't want to be the Wally Pipp. You get injured, you lose your job. But, yeah, it would be a Wally Pipp situation. If Breen got injured or got sick and I had to take over, that would be the end of it, Trent. Curtains.
Yeah, it really would. Yeah. So, but anyway, let's. I have to tell you though, I am so pumped up about the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. We have to talk about them, which I know we will. And I know the NBA Finals are going on right now. We'll get. By the time
Can we talk about something else? I don't want to talk about the Lightning.
Well, yeah, you wanted to talk about them after Game 2.
Oh, yeah.
Game 4, you didn't want to.
I don't want to talk about hockey anymore. I'm just not into it.
after games 1 and 2, with the Rangers going up 2-0, absolutely dominating the Tampa Bay Lightning. If we were to do this show this past Saturday, yeah, you would have wanted to talk about it for sure. But let's try doing the show the Wednesday after the Tampa Bay Lightning just stole Sunday's game for New York. They dominated the third period, by the way. Andrei Vasilevsky kind of turned out to be his normal self Sunday and into yesterday. And on Tuesday, we're recording this on Wednesday night because we have Game 5 tomorrow night. So being a Thursday, and but let me just talk a little bit about the Lightning, because games 1 and 2, the Lightning did not look like their previous playoff selves against the Florida Panthers, or even so with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, yes, we saw a little rust with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We saw, disorganized play, but this was multiplied tenfolds, in my opinion. The Rangers basically ran all over the Lightning. Igor Shesterkin outplayed Andrei Vasilevsky without question in games 1 and 2. The Tampa Bay Lightning turned the puck over in their own zone several times. They had over 50 giveaways between games 1 and 2. Rich, between games 3 and 4, how many turnovers they had? They had 15 combined. Okay. Wow. So they had 15. So they're turning the puck over less. We're seeing a rejuvenated Tampa Bay Lightning team. Of course, they did play at Amalie Arena this past Sunday and Tuesday night. So we understand that the home crowd can do that to you. But I think the Lightning, I think they are a very good team, and they are able to self-correct, and they are able to realize, and they're able to understand when things are going wrong. And after games 1 and 2, Cooper was asked, okay, guys, you're in this tough situation. You were down, 3-1 against Toronto, or you went down, several kind of the same situation against the Toronto Maple Leafs. What do you do? Well, the New York Rangers are a hungry team. They're a younger team. The Lightning are, not to say the Toronto Maple Leafs weren't young, but the Rangers hadn't been to hadn't won a Stanley Cup in I can't tell you how long.
I can tell you since 1994.
Yeah, 1994. So it's been almost 30 years since they won a Stanley Cup. And so, they really wanted it, and the Rangers, no matter what happens in these playoffs, I think they'll be back just because of their how young their team is, and hopefully they can keep their team.
Well, let's not write the Rangers eulogy just yet, Trent. The series is 2-2, and I love the overreaction either way in these playoff series, the ebb and flows, as they say, and going back and forth. I'll just chime in on this series a little bit. If you're a positive Ranger fan, you look at this is what you've seen. I mean, this is how this team plays. You saw the same exact thing play out in the Hurricane series. So, and again, off the old adage that Pat Riley throws out there, a series doesn't really start until a home team loses a game. And we'll see what happens at the Garden in Game 5, a place where the Rangers have been virtually unbeatable. And if the Rangers do lose Game 5, I've always said it's part of my sports philosophy that Game 6 on the road, down 3-2, is an almost impossible spot to be in. So if you're the Rangers and you're thinking about winning this series, you need to win Game 5. That is a must-win game. You lose Game 5, you're not winning Game 6 in Tampa Bay. It's not happening. So the design here is, which is what I said at the beginning of the series, this is going to go 7. That's what you expect. That's what happens in these series. Rangers will win Game 5 at home. The Lightning will win Game 6 in Tampa Bay, and we'll see what happens at the Garden in Game 7. But, Rangers went out, won the first 2 games, and you do get fooled a little bit there because you got a 2-0 lead in Game 3 in Tampa Bay. And where this series turned was Rangers up 2-0. They get the 4-minute minor, and you're thinking, wow, 4-minute power play. Rangers go up 3-0 in this game. They're about to go up 3-0 in the series. What happens? They commit a penalty 2 minutes later. Basically, the power play there is a wash, and you ruin what was a great opportunity with the 4-minute minor. 3 unanswered goals later, Tampa Bay Lightning take Game 3. And once they took Game 3, you knew they were winning Game 4. I mean, that's just the way these things go. So there's just nothing surprising about this series so far. It's kind of gone exactly the way you would have expected it to go. So I think of course, if you're a Lightning fan right now, you're feeling good because you just won 2 straight games at home. But I think if you're a Ranger fan, you look at the way this team has played, how resilient they've been, down 3-1 in the first round. Basically, the home being a dominant team at home throughout the playoffs. This is what you were expecting this series to be. So, yeah, you get a little greedy when you're up 2-0 in Game 3. But did you really expect to win that game? Did you expect anything different at this series going into Game 5 other than it being 2 games apiece? I think the series is exactly where it needs to be for the Rangers to win it, or for the Lightning to win it at that matter. I'm not saying either one's going to win, but if you're a Ranger fan and you want them to win, this series is exactly where you want it to be. Tied 2-2, go with a chance to go up 3-2 at home, and Game 7 looming at home. So you still got to feel good about yourself if you're a Ranger fan, in my opinion.
I mean, you do, but you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. If the Lightning were to go down, like for example, they won. They won on Sunday, but if they were to lose, if the Rangers were to have stolen a game on Tampa Bay's home ice at Amalie Arena on Tuesday, then of course that would mean the Rangers would go up 3-1. I don't think the Tampa Bay Lightning can beat the New York Rangers 3 straight games. I said that before last night's game, and of course I was wrong. We've beaten them 2 straight. Now winning Game 5 is going to be very, very, very difficult. I completely understand that, but you're starting to see the Tampa Bay Lightning, you're starting to see their self-correcting, if you will, kind of show itself. And you're starting to see, the team that we've seen earlier this season. We're starting to see the team that has kind of shown up in these playoffs come to fruition. And because the Tampa Bay Lightning have these types of experiences, because of the postseason experience that the Lightning do have, they're in a good spot, in my opinion. They really are.
You're always going to feel good after you win 2 games. But again, I don't think you can feel some of those things where, we're seeing the team that they're supposed to be until they win that road game. I think you can say those things after they win a game at the Garden. Because, look, it's the way these things work. If the Rangers go out there and win Game 5 at the Garden, which I think they probably will the way the playoffs have gone so far, then the narrative is going to be completely different. Rangers 1 game away from going to the championship. The Lightning, maybe this is it. You can't win every year, blah, blah, blah. There's just this incredible swing of emotions every time you win a playoff game to when you lose a game. I just think the series is right where you thought. I mean, I don't think there's a Ranger fan out there that thought the Rangers were going to sweep this series, that thought they would go up 3-0. And I think there's no doubt it was a huge comeback in that third game, and it hurts a little more when you were up 2-0 with a 4-minute minor in that second period, and you're looking at it like, whoa, is this really going to happen? Are the Rangers, like, my reaction was, is this really going to happen? Like, disbelief, like, no, this can't be. You're expecting the Lightning to do what they did, and they did, so there's not going to, even if the Rangers win Game 5, I think the Lightning are going to win Game 6, and this is going to go 7, and who knows what's going to happen in that 7th game. Or it could go the other way, which I know, like, from the way you're talking is how you're feeling right now. If you're a Lightning fan, this is the team that's won 2 straight championships, and you have every right to feel this way. This is a team that's won 2 straight championships. We've won 2 in a row at home. Looks like they've figured this out. We're going to go win a game we're going to win the next 2, and let's go to Colorado. So we'll see. We'll see if the Rangers have something to say about that.
Absolutely, and we'll see. Although the Tampa Bay, this is the most anxious I probably felt during a playoff run since being a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, just because of the fact that we were shaky a little bit during the regular season. We weren't the best team during the regular season like we have been in years past. We've struggled at times in the playoffs, but this team has been known to pick themselves up after being down, and that's what they're going to have to do, and that's what they have done so far, and that's what they're going to have to continue to do. Like I said, I agree with you. Their next huge challenge is winning a game at Madison Square Garden, where it is a very, very tough place to play. But I would also argue for the opposing team, and I'd also argue for the New York Rangers standpoint, Amalie Arena is a tough place to play. Tampa Bay doesn't have double-digit losses in the playoffs and for quite some time. Tampa had a streak of their own where they won, double-digit amount of home games prior to losing one, in the playoffs once before. So
yeah,
it's very.
That's why I don't think Trent. I don't think the Rangers are going to win a game at the Amalie Arena in this series. It's all going to be about, will the Lightning be able to win a game in Madison Square Garden? Because they're going to win their 3 games in Tampa. That's to me. There's no question that's going to happen. The question is, can they win a game at the Garden? We know they're not going to lose a game in Tampa. Can they? And it just so happens that the Rangers get 4 games at home in this series. Game 7 is at the Garden. So I think the way it's going to work out here, it is the way it's going to work out. Tampa has to win a game at the Garden. Can they do it?
It's going to be in the first 5-10 minutes of tomorrow night's game. We're going to be telling. That's for sure. It just depends on which Lightning team we see, if they're winning faceoffs, if they're controlling the puck in their own zone, if they're taking advantage of the power plays. And I will tell you, a lot of people are upset, have been upset this series with the officiating. And yeah, they are. There were a few plays that stand out in my mind. There were a few situations where penalties should have been called, but you know what? The officials in this series are saying, "Hey, look, guys, this is playoff hockey. You're going to get bumped into the boards. Sometimes you're going to get tackled. You're going to get roughed up. But that's the reason you're in the playoffs, and you need to be prepared for that." And for the most part, the officials are letting these teams play. Now, in terms of taking advantage of the power play, the Lightning power play has been very good, and so has their penalty kill. Whenever they've had penalties, like you said on Tuesday night, the Rangers scored their only goal thanks to a Tampa Bay penalty, and the same thing on Sunday as well. So you got to give credit to where credit is due. And if this series goes 7, you could see Braden Point appear at some point during this series. It's all contingent upon tomorrow night. If the Lightning don't win tomorrow night, you're probably not going to see Braden Point for the rest of the season. You just never know. Point apparently has been skating and has been progressing, but he's not quite 100%. He's not quite ready for prime time and not quite ready to get back on the ice as of yet. But the Lightning with the Andre Palat and Steven Stamkos and so many other players like Nick Paul has been big this series. So is Corey Perry. I'm looking to see guys like Ross Colton step up and score. And he did have a big assist in yesterday's game with it being on Tuesday. So I'm looking to seeing the guys who really made an impact during the regular season to step up, because it's all hands on deck when you're talking NHL playoffs. So go Bolts.
All right, we'll see what happens. Got to win one at the Garden to keep the three-peat dreams alive. What else you got for us, Trent?
Let's a quick update on the NBA. Rich, you're watching it live. What's happening right now?
Well, the Celtics well in hand with 2.5 minutes to go in the game, 12-point lead. So it's looking like the Boston Celtics are well on their way to a 2-1 lead in this series.
Yeah, man, what a great homecoming for the Boston Celtics. I mean, of course, games 1 and 2 were in at the Chase Center in San Francisco. But when you come to Boston, man, let me tell you something. TD Garden is a tough place to play if you're an opponent of the Boston Celtics, because they have all those pregame ceremonies, and you got the crowd constantly on your feet yelling, "Let's go Celtics!" And you got all the
I know it makes me sick, Trent. I hate hearing it. I don't like it.
You're going to hear it. At least it's not your team that's playing. At least the New York Knicks aren't in this. That's true. But and that's probably a good thing for everybody involved. But the Boston Celtics are right now, and we kind of knew this was going to be a back and forth kind of series. Boston ended up winning the game on Thursday night, opening night for the NBA Finals. And let me tell you, it didn't look like that was going to happen because Golden State had that game well in hand. Boston just absolutely abominated the third quarter. They were awful, but in the fourth quarter, it was kind of the same thing for Golden State. They couldn't quite get anything going. They were outscored 40-16 in that fourth quarter to come back. Jordan Poole, Rich, where was Jordan Poole in game one, man? You expect Jordan Poole to come out and have a whale of a game for Golden State. He didn't show up.
There's no doubt about that. He didn't show up, and you expect those role players to show up when it's a home game, But I will say, when talking about Jordan Poole, he had a great regular season. He didn't have as good a series against the Dallas Mavericks, but they were still able to win that series. But you look at game two. So he scored 17 points, 25 minutes. He contributed, hit that near half court shot, with the shot clock winding down there in the second half. He had a lot of big moments in game two, and I think was a big part of why the Warriors won game two. I mean, he was their second leading scorer. Steph Curry, of course, had the 29. If Golden State wins this series, there's no doubt that he's probably going to be MVP. I mean, look, and we were talking about emotion swings and how you view a series from game to game. Game three here in Boston, 116, 123 seconds left. Looks like Boston's going to have another game, another victory off of a dominating fourth quarter, which is what you got in this game. But it's also a game that's their first home game, so we'll see what happens. It's gonna and again, you get greedy if you're the Celtics, right? You take game three at home. By winning game one, you actually give yourself home court advantage. So now if you're the Celtics, you have a shot in game four to take a commanding 3-1 lead going back to San Francisco. So and you look at this, these role players got to be better. I mean, if you're Jordan Poole, game three in Boston, you had 10 points in this game. You did nothing. Klay Thompson, a much better game, put up 25. Steph Curry giving you what you expect with the 31. He's kind of giving you the feel of almost like a Luka Doncic in the Western Conference Finals, where you could put up 40 and you're going to get the L. So and that's what happened in this game. Look, Steph Curry's been great in this series. It's all going to be about, and apparently you need more than Klay Thompson because he gave you a good game in this game. But guys like Jordan Poole, only 10 points, and even guys like Kevon Looney. You want to see that rebound number higher. He only had 7 rebounds tonight. If you're the Golden State Warriors, you need Looney on the offensive boards, giving you second chance opportunities. You need him to be your big guy in this series, in a series where obviously the Celtics are a bigger physical team. And tonight, Looney really did nothing for you. Only 7 boards, 6 points. So, and again, it's not something that's unexpected. It's game 3 in Boston. You split the first 2, it's all about this next game here. You need to hold serve if you're Golden State. You're going to split in Boston just like you guys split in San Francisco and set up the best of 3 in the last 3 games of the series. So, and very similar to the next Rangers Lightning game, where I really think you're going to know a lot about this series with the results of what happens. You want to look at the Celtics side of the ball, and just great all over the place. You got great games. You had Tatum with the 26 points and the 9 assists and the 6 rebounds. Look at Jaylen Brown filling up the stat sheet, 27 points, 6 assists, 9 rebounds. Even Marcus Smart dropping 24 at home, 24, 5, and 7 for him. Horford actually contributed in this game, after having a brilliant game 1, disappeared game 2, in game 7, filling up the stat line, 11, 8, and 6. So, at home, those role players play better, and I think this is huge now. Game 4. Can Golden State bounce back and do what you expect and keep this series on course for a Game 7 because, you're in the same position here. You go back to you go to Golden State here for Game 5, down 3-1. Even if Golden State wins that game and forces a Game 6 in Boston, again, this is my philosophy. Game 6 on the road, down 3-2, is just such a difficult spot to be in. You're going to have Boston. Boston. Yeah, that's how it's going to work out. So Boston Game 6 up 3-2. That's going to be a tough spot for Golden State. That's a near impossible game to win, in my opinion. So they need to win Game 4 and split the Boston trip and have this series 2-2 going back to San Francisco is vital.
And what I was telling you about last week was it seems like the third quarter for the Boston Celtics is their nemesis. It seems like they can have a good first half and just kind of fall apart in the third quarter like they have in other games, like they had a big lead early on, and then of course you're going to have to try to maintain Golden State's runs. I mean, Golden State is a team that plays with runs in their favor, and they're going to be a part of some runs during games. Then you look at Boston; they had a double-digit lead. Golden State cut it to 2 at one point, but then Boston ended up in the fourth quarter, the money quarter, as they call it, ended up making plays when they needed to. It seems like the third quarter has been Boston's kind of troublesome quarter. If they can clear that up, they'll be fine. You have to play 48 minutes of solid basketball, or as close to that as possible. And
let me just jump in on that, Trent, because that's exactly the way it played out in this game. You look at the third quarter, the Warriors outscored the Celtics 33-25 in the third quarter. You're starting to feel good about yourself. You get the game to within 2 points, and all of a sudden you look at that fourth quarter. Golden State Warriors scored 11 points in the fourth quarter tonight. Celtics win the fourth quarter 23-11, and they win the game 116-100. But 11 points from the Warriors in the fourth quarter. So far in this series, the Warriors have owned the third quarter, and the Celtics have owned the fourth quarter. Trent, which one would you rather own, the third or the fourth?
Fourth, without question.
Yeah, that's winning time. So far, Celtics getting it done in winning time.
Yeah, your powerful third quarter is irrelevant if you lose the game.
100%. Yep.
So, all right, well, let's move quickly, finally, to the baseball diamond. We always start with the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's start off with your New York Yankees. How are they doing? I don't even want to talk about them because they just keep winning. They keep lengthening that lead in the American League East. Although Wednesday night, tonight, the Yankees did finally lose a game. Their 7-game losing streak is over, and the Rays did gain a game because the Rays beat St. Louis. But still, in the grand scheme of things, the Yankees are on fire, and they still are well into the month of June. So tell me a little bit about them. What's going on?
Well, Yankees won 7 straight games. It seems like there's always another winning streak with this team right now. Extremely impressive so far with the pitching. You saw them last week where you had back-to-back games of Jameson Taillon and Garrett Cole bringing perfect games into the 8th inning. Just really exceptional pitching and great starts all the way around from whether it's Nasty Nestor Cortez, Severino, and that's been the difference with this Yankee team so far. They've been able to pitch better than everybody else, and you can overcome what has been really, as good as the Yankees have been, you feel like they can be better because there's just a lot of guys on this team underperforming right now. We've talked about Joey Gallo and Aaron Hicks, both 32% and 33% respectively below the major league average in OPS. So that's pretty awful. You look at a Gleyber Torres who has had some big hits. He's been clutch this season, a couple of walk-off hits, but still the guy has a 286 on base percentage. He's only hitting around 250. You look at Rizzo early on in the season, the guy was hitting 284. He's down to like 210, but still, even with Rizzo, he has Recently, a game-winning base hit up the middle against the Angels, a 2-run single, and then the big 3-run home run the other day against the Minnesota Twins. So, I love Rizzo's approach at the plate. I feel like the guy could be hitting 210, and I still want him up in a big spot because he's going to choke up on that back. He's going to make contact. He's going to make things happen. So Rizzo, I'm a little less worried about. Even LeMahieu, you look at it, he's only hitting 250, but he had a big grand slam. He always seems to get big hits, so I'm not as worried about him. Donaldson as well, not playing up to his potential. So a lot of guys in that lineup, and they're not done yet as far as what this roster is going to be. It is going to be very interesting because this Yankee team hasn't been in this position for years. You look at it at the situation right now, 7 games up, all right, on June 9th on both the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Look, on June 9th, up 7 games, it's still a collapse. It's not guaranteed the Yankees are going to win the division. You can blow a 7-game lead. There's no doubt. We've seen teams blow bigger leads in August. But still, where the Yankees are right now, the way they're pitching, a 7-game lead, it's a huge collapse if they don't win the division this year. Even with that, you're expecting that they're going to make the playoffs. With that pitching so far, it's the best pitching in baseball, no doubt. And you're going to expect the some of the injuries with the bullpen. They should have a pretty deep pen by the end of the year. But when you look at the Yankees right now, 40-16, 7 games up on the Blue Jays, 7 games up on the Rays. Pretty much have played well against every team in the division so far. You got to feel good about the Yankees. Another 7-game winning streak now. Tyone and Nestor Cortez, back-to-back starts from guys that, poor starts from guys that have been brilliant. You can't be great every start. You hope that doesn't become a pattern. I don't believe it will. But, these 2 games against the Twins, the Yankees haven't pitched well, and they've split a couple of games there. But that's baseball, Susan, right? You're not going to win every single game. But there's just, you look at this team, you got possibly the best player in baseball when you're talking about an Aaron Judge. I think another one just left the yard. The guy's hitting .317 with 22 home runs. Clearly the best player in the sport right now. The Yankees are in a position they haven't been in a long, long time with this kind of lead in the division and this kind of record where Cashman can go to Steinbrenner and say, look at what we got here. We need to go crazy on the deadline, okay, at the deadline. We need to go get Benintendi from the Royals. Money needs to be no object. Yankees need to be the Yankees this year because with this lead and this record right now, if you're not going to go for it this year, when are you going to go for it? So even the 98 Yankees made moves at the deadline, so this is not the team if the Yankees are going to be the Yankees, and they've been great so far this year, but some of this dead weight that you're seeing with the Joey Gallo, the Aaron Hicks, these dudes that I will be shocked if we're playing big baseball in October if Joey Gallo is having an at-bat in a big game for the Yankees in October. This is not the team. They will find a way. Cashman is going to find a way to strengthen this team by the trade deadline, which makes it that much more exciting as a Yankee fan because that's what they've done here. They put themselves in a position where you're going to go for it. You have assets. You have Andahar. You have things that you can do to improve this team. Yankee fans, you want to get on Cashman. You don't believe in the process the last couple of years. I've definitely complained about him, but they made the right moves. They've improved themselves defensively. I think at this point they have the highest percentage defense in baseball as far as saving runs. And that's what most teams that play the Yankees say. They're like, so much better defensively, whether it's Trevino behind the plate or even a Kiner Falefa at shortstop. Yankees were a terrible team defensively last year. That's a lot different this year. They make all the plays, and again, of course, the incredible power in the lineup, but there are a lot of holes in this lineup, especially when you talk about the bottom three of the order, that if this team is going to be the Yankees that we know, they're going to make some big moves here, and it's going to be a pretty formidable team come October. But you got to be excited about what you're seeing so far, because this team has not been in this position for years. Plagued by injuries and underperformance, and that being said, look, Yankees still make the playoffs every year, right? It's not like this is a team that's completely collapsed and been irrelevant, but by Yankee fan standards, you're not getting it done because you're not winning championships. Look, you want to talk about the 4 out of 5 championships they had in the late 90s going into the 2000s, but in the 2000s, Yankees were in the World Series, 01, 03, 09, 2000, you had 4 appearances there. You had none in the last decade. So you have a 1980s style drought that this team has gone through. You thought that was changing in 2017. You've lost twice to the Houston Astros in the ALCS 2017, 2019. And again, look at me, Trent, right? And no offense, but you and Rays fans, you were excited about winning 100 games last year. Honestly, I don't give a damn if the Yankees win 108 games this year. It's not about that. It's about beating, and they're on a collision course. That's what it looks like right now. Houston Astros, New York Yankees, 2 best teams in the American League right now. And it looks like they're in a collision course for the ALCS. And if you lose to the Astros again for a third time, if you tell me it's going to be you lost to the Astros 17, 19, and now 22, I don't want anything to do with that. I want the Yankees to collapse and the Rays to come back and go lose in the first round to the Boston Red Sox. Like, I don't want to be in the playoffs if we're going to lose again to the Houston Astros. So I'm not like the division, 100 wins. None of that should matter, because all I'm thinking about is, how do you improve this team by the deadline? How do we beat the Astros in the ALCS? Because the Yankees could win 115 games this year. If we lose to the Astros again, it is a complete and utter failure again. And that's just how it's different being a Yankee fan from being a fan of other teams. Because you can feel, we won a division. Yeah, that's great. We won a playoff series. No, I don't care. Yankees could win 120 games this year. If you lose to the Astros in the playoffs, it's a disgrace. So, and there are holes in this lineup, and Cashman needs to fix that. And 41 and 16 be damned. You need to get in gear. Get Gallo and Hicks off this team, Benintendi, whatever it is. You need to start making sure that you put this team that's clearly talented and put themselves in a position here to win a division, get a first-round bye. You need to at least make yourself feel like you did everything you can to put yourself in a position to beat the Houston Astros, because that's what you're thinking about right now if you're a Yankee fan. You're not thinking about July. You're not thinking about August. You're not thinking about the division. You're thinking about what's going to happen when we get to October. Is this team going to be the same failure that they've been the last couple of years where, they're so good, we got Aaron Judge, but you lose Game 7 against the Astros in 17 and 19. You lose to the Rays in 20, you lose to the Red Sox. You're this stepping stone team, okay, you had a great regular season, but you lose in the playoffs again. You're looking, they have us looking to the playoffs and thinking, this could be special if management makes the right moves and they don't underperform when the time comes. But give them credit. They're getting the job done right now. This is the most success we've seen from this team probably since 2017. And they didn't win in 2017, so who cares? You could talk about Astros and cheaters, and they stole it from the Yankees. And this, I don't care about any of that. Get it done. Win. It's time to win a World Series. They haven't won since 2009. If this means anything, 41 and 16, it means nothing right now. Get it done in October. I don't want to hear about how good the Yankees are right now. There's still a lot of work to be done.
And that's very well said, and we'll see how the Yankees continue playing. I mean, they're really on a great win. They're on a pace right now to win 117 games. I looked at the numbers yesterday, and if they just keep winning and doing what they're doing,
you know what that means to me, Trent?
Nothing.
Thank you.
I know, but I'm just citing your statistics here.
Yes.
That 100
they are playing great. There's no doubt. They're playing great baseball. Right, best baseball I've seen in years, Trent. And it's fun to watch a guy like Aaron Judge. It's fun to watch these pitchers do their thing, but get it done in October. That's what matters right now. Let's see if they can do it. Let's see what they do when the brightest lights are on.
Absolutely. So, and then we move to the Tampa Bay Rays, who are fighting. They're two-time division champions as it is. They won a division in 2020, of course, during the so-called tournament year, as you call it. And then in 2021, during a normal 162-game season, they also won the division. And the Rays are within striking distance even on June 8th. I mean, they're 7 games back right now. That's not an insurmountable deficit, considering that the Rays are missing 2 of their top guys in their lineup and several bullpen guys, especially, and not just bullpen guys, but starting pitchers too. I mean, you're missing, of course, we knew that Tyler Glasnow wouldn't play this year because he did have Tommy John surgery, but you're missing guys like Pete Fairbanks and JT Chagua. You've been missing those guys since April. And then you have guys like Brandon Lau go down. Brandon Lau dealt with injuries since he's been here, and this year being no exception. And who knows when he'll be back. You got Manuel Margot, who's not playing at 100%. He's not running as well as he should be, and so he's not stretching the single into a double when he has the opportunity to do so. And he's just kind of playing to get by, unfortunately, right now, just because he's had some injuries that he's dealing with. And Kevin Cash and the team are trying to manage it. And then you have Wander Franco, their top prospect, has been dealing with a quad issue for most of the year. They finally put him on the IL. There's no telling when he'll be back. But it may be here within the next month or so. It just depends. They're managing him as well, but it was time for Franco to be sat down for a few days, and just because his approach at the plate wasn't a Wander Franco-like, if you will. And so you're missing, Brandon Lau and Wander Franco are 2 guys that are really had some production down that Tampa Bay Rays lineup, but with the injuries, guys have had to step up. Guys like Randy Rosarena, Kevin Kiermaier has been put in different places all around the lineup. Some nights he's good, some nights he's not so good. Yandy Diaz, I'm starting to see some production out of him. Yandy's reached base for the last several games. Ji-Man Choi is riding an 8-game hitting streak, so that's good to see. So you're starting to see the Rays offense having to make some moves, and look, with as many guys as they're missing and as many guys who are attempting to step up, and you really can't complain that the Tampa Bay Rays are right now at their high water mark at 10 games over 500, and they're within striking distance in the American League East. They're tied for second with the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, I would be happy with all of the injuries and with all the adversity this team has faced. I would be happy with them at 500. But you know what? They're 10 games above that, and if they've been hanging around 10 games above that for quite some time. If you want to play,
that's the only way they're still in. If the Rays are 500 right now, they don't have a shot. Because even at being 10 games over 500, they're 7 games behind the Yankees right now. And if you look at it, the 3 of the best teams in the 3 teams in the American League East are going to the playoffs. That's what makes what the Yankees have done that much more impressive, is that Blue Jays are one of the best teams in the American League. Tampa Bay Rays are one of the best teams in the American League. 3 teams from the American League East are going to be in the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Rays are going to be in the playoffs. Toronto Blue Jays are going to be in the playoffs. And obviously the Yankees are going to be there as well. But come on, who's leading the AL Central right now? The Minnesota Twins. The Tampa Bay Rays are better than the Twins. The Blue Jays are better than the Twins. You go out west, of course, you have the Houston Astros. Yankees, Astros, best teams right now. Who's in second place in the AL West? The Angels, who just lost 1 million games in a row. They're 27-30 right now. The Angels
Joe Madden was fired too. Former Tampa Bay Ray manager. They fired
right.
Madden in the middle of the season.
And Joe Madden just got fired, former Tampa Bay Ray manager. But let's be honest, the way it looks right now, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Tampa Bay Rays, they're all going to make the playoffs. And we'll see how it all cracks up by the end of it. But there are a lot of bad teams in the American League. In the Central, there's only one team over 500, and that's the Twins. White Sox right now in second place, 26-27. They stink. Everybody in the Central stinks. Everybody out west stinks. The Angels are in second place. They're 27-30. They suck. They're 0-10 in their last 10 games. They're terrible. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Houston Astros, those are the best teams in the American League. So again, and I said it last year. I thought you had 3 evenly matched teams in the American League East, and let's see how it all shapes out at the end in the postseason. I think even with the 7-game lead, if you're the Yankees, it's still 3 pretty evenly matched teams in the American League East, and because of the shape of the American League, all 3 are probably going to make the playoffs. And it really doesn't matter who wins the division. I know you're going for that bye and everything, but I think that's a little bit of an overrated thing. So I think the Yankees, the Jays, and the Rays all have themselves in good positions and will all have something to say come October.
Yeah, they will. And as long as the Rays keep doing what they're doing, and they're getting guys back slowly but surely. Wander Franco will be back. Brandon Lau will be back. You got Andrew Kittredge has already come back, a reliever that Tampa Bay has missed for quite some time. Shane Baz, one of their starting pitchers that looked good at Durham, coming back from an injury, and he's been recovering as well. So Shane Baz is expected to enter the rotation in their next road trip when Tampa Bay, speaking of the Twins, they go to Minnesota. That's the first stop of a 3-city road trip, a 3-city 9-game road trip. There's an off day mixed in there, so it's 10 days as a whole. But look, the Rays have some tough games coming up. You mentioned, the Twins, even though they're leading the American League Central, and even though the Rays are a better team, I think on paper than the Minnesota Twins. The Twins have been tough, not just in spring training. They won the Knutson Cup during the spring for quite some time, but also just in the regular season, they got guys that can hit, and their manager, Rocco Baldelli, former Tampa Bay Rays coach, was a member of their coaching staff for quite some time. He knows the ins and outs of this organization, and he's seen a lot of players that have been on this team in the past.
With the Twins, I'll believe it when I see it. I never believe in the Twins. And again, that's a good sign to me. Twins first place in the Central, that means it's going to be a good October for the Yankees, because usually the way it goes is Yankees play the Twins, knock them out, go on to the World Series. That's usually what happens. I forget the exact record, but the Yankees record with the Twins is just ridiculous. The Twins have a horrible record with the Yankees over the years, especially in the playoffs. It's futility. It's just you feel like it's just always going to turn out where if the Twins are somehow involved in the postseason, they're going to draw the Yankees, and guess what? Yankees are going to win. But Minnesota's posted a losing record against the Yankees every single year since 2002. 15 straight years of complete ineptitude against the Yankees. The Twins' collective record against the Yankees in that span, 31-78, a .284 win percentage, which would translate, if they played the Yankees all season, it would be 46-116. It's the 15th worst regular season mark in modern Major League history from one opponent to the other. Twins against the Yankees over the past 15 years, one of the 20 worst teams in the last century against an opponent. So, it's pretty, and to take it a step further, since 2002 at Yankee Stadium, the Twins are 12-40 in the Bronx. 12-40. So you know what? When you see the Twins are good and you're a Yankee fan, you're like, okay, there's an easy win in the postseason. But then there's always that voice in your head that says, well, maybe this is the year the Twins finally beat you. But I just don't think they have the pitching. They have guys in that lineup for sure. They can hit for power. A couple of old Yankee friends, and whether it's Gary Sanchez, a couple different guys. So, hey, they got some talent offensively, but not enough pitching. I welcome seeing the Twins in October if that's the case, for sure.
Well, and then you got the Twins, and then, of course, the Rays head to the Yankees. They got the series with the Yankees in consecutive weeks. All three of them, all three games are night games next week at Yankee Stadium, and then the following week they head back to the Trop to play a series with the Yankees Monday through Wednesday, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So that should be
that's definitely in the Rays' favor, Trent, because that's one thing that you look at. The Yankees and the Rays have only played 4 games so far this year, so there's a lot of games left to be played between the two.
Absolutely. They split at that series at Tropicana Field. Yankees won Thursday, Friday. Tampa won Saturday, Sunday of that particular weekend. So you got to give credit. Look, the Rays are dealing with injuries right now. To wrap up on them, they're dealing with adversity. The pitching and the defense. I mean, the pitching has done their job to the best of their ability. The defense has been shaky at times. I would like to see them improve overall, but it's the offense, and the offense. They've been leaving a lot of chicken on the bone as of late, as Dave Wills of Rays Radio says. They have to continue to try to get those big hits with runners in scoring position, because I think that's what the Rays' downfall is right now, is their offense. The pitching is given the team the chance to win pretty much every night, with the exception of the blunder that Ryan Yarbrough had on Sunday against the Chicago White Sox.
And they sent him down, didn't they? I think Yarbrough went down.
Yes, because Shane Baz is on his way back up. So he wants Kevin Cash wants Shane Baz to get to enter Ryan Yarbrough's slot in the rotation. So look, if the Rays keep winning 2 out of 3 games, if they keep winning series, and hey, even if they can, the icing on the cake will be getting a few sweeps here and there. They have a chance to do that tomorrow with the St. Louis Cardinals. Look, they'll win over 90 games and they'll make the postseason. They're fine. And people are panicking about the Tampa Bay Rays. In my opinion, when the reinforcements get back, and when guys like Wander Franco and Brandon Lau are back in the lineup, you got nothing to worry about if you're a Ray fan. Yeah,
the Rays have one of the 5 best records in the American League. They just happen to be in the same division with the Blue Jays and the Yankees. If the Rays are in the Central, they're kind of in the dry. They're battling the Twins. They're right up there in first place. They're not 7 games out.
Absolutely right. So
usually you're 10 games over 500 at this point in the season. You're not 7 games out of first place. You just have a team in the Yankees that are off to a historic start right now, and it's only June. That can turn at any point. One bad week the Yankees have, a big week the Rays have, and before you know it, it's a 3-game lead going into a 3-game series. Between the two. So anything's possible at this point. Early June, you're about to hit the dog days of summer in the sport. So it's all about who can survive this, who can not get those big injuries, right? That's baseball, Susan.
Absolutely, and that's it for the sports.
What? There's got to be some. Do you have any? There's golf, there's cricket, there's soccer. No, forget it.
It's time to sit down and unwind and listen to the Couch Report.
The Couch Report. So nice, so good, so awesome. Trent, is there anything going on your couch?
Is there anything going on my couch? Well, this past weekend, because of the weather, I was on it a lot.
Yeah.
I was, I was watching sports and doing my thing. Just kind of going out there and enjoying life. Getting in the water as much as I can. Thankful to have a pool out here in central FLA. Doing a lot of swimming, trying to get the heart pumping, trying to get out and doing some cardio each and every day. So still taking care of that in terms of just kind of doing that. My schedule's actually kind of turned rather normal. I still have a normal, busy work schedule, but it's very nice to kind of have times where I can actually just sit and relax and watch sports and watch other things. I don't have any shows right now that I'm really watching as of yet. I'm gonna start kicking that back up, but just trying to hang out outside, do whatever I can, and still a semi off the couch report. Gonna take a couple little trips here during the summer to just enjoy the weather outside and just get ready for football season and the whole 9 yards. So just still kind of staying off of my couch for now, trying to stay as active as possible and enjoying the nice weather down here in central FLA. How about you? What's on your couch?
I'm trying to stay on the couch. It's very important. I don't want to move. No sudden movements. Just stay perfectly still and watch TV. Very important. No, I got off the couch. We actually got out to Daytona to see the new Top Gun movie, Top Gun Maverick, which is dominating the box office. We talked about that. And I got to say, I thought that the new Top Gun Maverick movie was awesome. It was really great. It's kind of, you could say that it's a carbon copy of the original without the cheese. Because, I did watch the original again to get myself prepared for the sequel, know what the story was. Because it's honestly one of those movies growing up that you knew was huge, but wasn't one that I necessarily saw too many times or was that into. So I watched it again recently, and it was hard to get through, honestly. The 80s cheese is strong in it. I mean, it's the acting is rough. The cheese is rough. It's not a great movie. The action sequences, obviously, are where it excels, but those are far between. There's good action at the beginning and then at the very end, but there's a lot of cheese in between. So, this day and age, I can see how if you were there in the 80s, this movie could have captured your imagination with the dog fighting and the F-14s and all that. I can see that. I can see how back then it could have, gripped you. But looking at it through 2022 eyes, it's a cheese fest and it's not really that good. But the remake does a great job. It's not a remake, it's a sequel, excuse me. The sequel does a great job of, in a way, remaking the original movie, but without the cheese, a more compelling story, and way more compelling action sequences. I thought the mission at the end was a more compelling mission than the original movie. In the original movie, you got, what was it? There was a cargo ship in the Indian Ocean that they had to go out there and defend against the enemy. And in the sequel here, the new Top Gun Maverick, spoiler alert, the mission at the end is this elaborate mission where they have to fly close to the ground and then scale a mountain and then go into the mountain and take out this area where they're enriching uranium to create a nuclear bomb. So it was just a more compelling human story, and I thought that the action and the final mission was way more compelling than the original. And again, like I said, I just saw the original, didn't like it much, but the sequel, Top Gun Maverick, was Top Gun, man. It was freaking awesome. It was really good. So I enjoyed that. Ton of shows that I'm watching. The Boys just came back from Amazon, season 3, based off of the wacky graphic novel from one of my favorite writers of all time, Garth Ennis. And season 3 does not disappoint in the wackiness. I mean, I don't even want to talk about some of the outrageous, disgusting, horrible ways people have died in this show through the first 3 episodes. But it was hilarious, entertaining, and sensationally gory, but still very good. So I've enjoyed season 3 of The Boys. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I think, continues to be very good, even though the last episode was kind of the weakest of the bunch so far. It was, one of those episodes where they're at the space station and everybody gets away time and the whole thing, and half of it is negotiations with an alien race trying to create peace. So, it was the weakest of the episodes so far, the slowest, but I do think it continues to be a really good Star Trek show. Also, Stranger Things season 4, deep into that, 6 episodes in. I really dug the first season of Stranger Things, and Stranger Things kind of has a similar thing to what Harry Potter had going on, where you get to see the actors grow up in the series. But to be honest, if I'm looking at it, I really enjoyed the first season of Stranger Things. 2 and 3 I thought were pretty awful. I didn't like them at all. But so far, season 4 is, I'm not going to say it's as good as season 1, but I've enjoyed it as much as I did season 1, at least more than I did season 2 and season 3. Obviously, a major 80s horror influences. The kids are a little bit older, so they're able to really dive deeper into the horror genre. You saw early in season 4, one of the kids had an Evil Dead poster in his room, and there's a lot of Evil Dead in it, but also Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. You see elements of that in the story. So I think so far, surprising to me, because like I said, I didn't really like season 2 and season 3, but I'm really enjoying season 4 so far of Stranger Things on Netflix. So enjoying that as well. I think finally I'll just say it's been, if you're an amateur astronomer, it's been a very frustrating couple of months. I think maybe I've been able to get the telescope out there twice in the last 45 days or so. And one of those days actually was probably this past Wednesday. I got out there and had one of the greatest nights I've ever had with the telescope, because I know M13, the massive Great Hercules globular cluster. I've been checking that out whenever I get a chance. I recently got a new Celestron XL 5mm eyepiece, which, it's good to have good eyepieces. They can get pretty expensive, but I have a 9mm XL eyepiece, which I really love. So I got a 5mm for greater magnification, use more power with the big 12-inch mirror I have, and looking at the Great Hercules cluster through that 5mm XL on a 12-inch aperture. Holy cow. I mean, again, that Great Hercules cluster is a globular cluster with over 300,000 stars in it. Through that 5mm eyepiece, one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. You were right in there. It makes you think about everything. When you're able to look at something that's 35,000 light years away. When you're talking about globular clusters, they're among the oldest objects in all of the universe. Because the stars have less metals, heavy materials within them, heavy elements. Scientists say that they're the oldest stars in the universe. So these globular clusters you're looking at, not only is it 35,000 light years away, at least when you're talking about Hercules, M13, it's about 12 billion years old. So it's just something that's pretty wild to look at. I also found for the first time M92, which is another globular cluster not too far from Hercules, not as spectacular as M13, This was M3. No, this was M92. Excuse me. But still pretty damn cool to look at. And yay, I found another globular cluster, M92. And then the highlight for me, I was like, well, I know the Ring Nebula is supposed to be up, but I've had a real hard time finding planetary nebulas. I think maybe I was looking for them when they're too far in the western sky. The Ring Nebula, M57, was directly overhead Wednesday night, and I looked for it, and to my shock, I found it, and I was so pumped up to find a planetary nebula. If you don't know, you probably don't. Planetary nebula is what's left of a dead star. You know, it's what's going to happen to the sun when it dies in 5 billion years, because it's not massive enough to become a black hole or a neutron star. It's probably going to be a white dwarf and create a planetary nebula. Well, but before it does that, it's going to become a red giant, become a planetary nebula, and you got the white dwarf in there. Anyway, I found the Ring Nebula, which is a planetary nebula, a dead star, a white dwarf, and it was just cool to see, man. You know, and I think I'm getting good at this, because first time that night that I ever tried to look for M92 or the Ring Nebula, I found them both on my first attempt. So super pumped up. Took advantage of the one clear night I've had in a long time, and holy cow, I found my first planetary nebula, my first dead star, M57, the Ring Nebula. I'm very proud of myself, Trent. Very proud.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
I'm so shocked you didn't fall asleep during all that. Thank you so much for staying with me on that, Trent.
Yeah, there's my snoring right there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But anyway, that's my couch report. And that's another episode of the Super Radio Brothers. Any last words, Trent?
Hey, another episode's wrapped up. Let's do it again next week, and let's continue.
I forget, what was that, 304? I think that's episode, or 305.
I don't know. 304, 305, close to it.
I need somebody to keep track of these things, because I have no idea what's going on. I'm too worried about planetary nebulas in the edge of the universe, Trent.
I can tell.
In the words of Bob Dylan, time is an ocean, but it ends at the shore. The Super Radio Brothers have reached the shore. See ya!
Go Bolts.